So my name is Kristen Philippi. If we haven't met before, I'm a lead creative strategist here at #Paid, and I'm really excited today to walk everyone through Volume 2 of The Creator Effect, which is our industry report on the creator economy. Let's dive right in. So as we look at the creator economy growth over the last quarter, we've seen continued growth and investment in this space. According to Goldman Sachs, there are now 67 million creators worldwide, with that number expected to explode to 107 million by 2030. But it's not just that the creator scale is growing, but it's also their audience and income that's growing as well. The top 50 creators quoted by Forbes of 2025 now boast a combined 3.4 billion followers, which equates to almost half of the population of the entire world. And of those top 50 richest creators, they're earning an estimated $853 million so far this year, which is already an 18% jump from 2024's record year. But creators are not growing in isolation. The creator economy is now contributing to the overall US GDP growth, contributing to 18% of that growth. And this is resulting in very impressive explosion in three categories. There's new jobs, new products, and new investments. When we look at new jobs, for the first time, Fortune 500 companies like Starbucks and Apple are actually hiring full-time roles related to the creator economy. So if we look at Starbucks here, they're hiring a global coffee creator whose job would be to travel the world, document diverse coffee cultures and the brand's unique expression, and share it on social media. Apple is also seeking a head of creator experiences who would lead the design and execution of immersive creator events that help, bring visibility to their products and services. Creators are also developing CPG products that are fierce competitors for traditional brands. Did you know that Mr. Beast is projected to earn more in sales from Feastables than from his YouTube channel this year? An entrepreneur quoted and projected that Mr. Beast is expected to generate $520 million in sales for Feastables versus only $288 million in YouTube videos. On the beauty side of things, creator Mikayla Nogueira launched her skincare line this year called POV, and within 8 minutes of going live, she earned $1 million. Unbelievable. And when we look at investments, CPG moguls like Molly Baz, who we've kicked off this presentation with, recently secured $4.5 million in seed investment for her product AO Mayo, which sold over 30,000 products within the first week in DTC sales. Eric Sheridan at Goldman Sachs really summed it up well, saying the private funding environment for creators is as strong as he's ever seen. Ultimate creators this quarter have perfected the art of community, and they're fostering these relationships directly with their fans who are incredibly loyal and taking action to support them. And this direct-to-fan relationship is actually driving the next phase of growth in the creator economy. And we see this with a massive bloom in these direct-to-fan platforms. So if we look at a platform like Patreon, for example, there are now more than 60 million free members on Patreon. That number doubled between June to December of 2024. On Discord, 90% of Discord servers are focused on microgroups of 5 to 20 people, really showing that the core of that experience is geared toward that intimate relationship. And on Like to Know It, they're now driving $5 billion worth in annual merchandise sales, partnering with a mix of brands and creators. Ultimately, creators and audience alike are craving these intimate spaces to interact that are not driven by algorithms. Now, to understand more deeply how and why creators are emerging as champions of this new era of marketing, we're going to dive headfirst into our report, talk about new technology, talk about the media landscape, look at performance marketing, and then, of course, take a peek on what's to come ahead. As we start talking about technology and look towards the social platforms, we have to look in tandem at the rise of AI and creator and reflect how platforms are meeting this demand. From AI models showing up in fashion campaigns to advancements in media delivery, we're going to talk about VO3 and Google, OpenAI, Pinterest, Meta, and YouTube. As we look at Q2, one thing became very clear: AI is social's next big bet. Meta invested $14 billion alone in Q2 to scale AI on their platform. And as Google launched Veo 3 in May, which allowed video and audio to be synced into one single product, there have been 40 million videos produced in that time. The platforms are really advancing their offerings in AI in two directions. One is having accelerated content production, and the other is optimizing delivery to drive stronger performance. When it comes to accelerated content production, the launch of Veo 3 really hit a new threshold of quality of AI-generated video production. But it's not just what's happening on screen. The platforms are also really leaning into what's happening with production and editing, providing brands and creators alike with tools that lower the barrier to entry and make content more scalable and accessible. So with tools like language dubbing, generated asset and copy and content remix, it's so much easier to create creative at scale. When we look on the delivery side, we turn to Eric Stuford, who's a media strategist that spoke at the Meta Performance Marketing Summit in June, to give us perspective on what AI-driven delivery means for the consumer in feed.
It's real-time user-level personalization in the moment, right? Like imagine you are getting an ad that is rendered specifically for you based on what the platform knows about you, based on all the context in the products, in the feed, whatever, based on everything you've seen in that session. And it has the highest possible potential click-through rate and conversion rate.
We're now entering an era with AI of maximum relevance advertising. Meta is predicting that Advantage Plus will drive a 37% incremental lift in conversions versus manual campaigns. And with tools like AI-powered search, enhanced data, and AI-powered audience targeting, we're seeing that performance is able to be as optimized as possible. So what does that mean when we
It's real-time.
When we turn to the in-feed experience and tie this back to creator, what's really interesting to see is that with infinite creative freedom with these AI tools, content is taking on human form. So we're seeing clips of newscasters that are a little bit too strange to believe. We're seeing cinematic short-form content that reflects more of a film-style asset with narrative and storytelling. And we're also seeing a lot of AI-generated creator-style content. Not even AI can escape the little creator mic. But ultimately, what's important to consider is that as AI-generated content becomes more common, trust and authenticity are going to become the real currency. Let's take a look at 3 examples here of where the world of creator and AI are colliding. Number 1, OpenAI is considering launching their own creator feed similar to TikTok, an algorithmic stream of creator-style, fully AI-generated content that users could consume. Creators are, being deep-faked. This is an example of a creator, Ariel Lore, who was used in an ad without her consent, leading to boards like the IAB launching AI regulations to help monitor how creators and their likeness are used. And we're even seeing fashion brands like H&M, Moncler, and Revolve testing digital models and AI-generated content to elevate their production. Now, where do the platforms come in? What are they doing about it? What's really interesting to see is that each social platform is embracing AI and creators in their own unique way. Pinterest is really focused and leaned in on content discovery. Meta is diving deep into that production and delivery acceleration, where YouTube is taking a very creator-first approach. Pinterest recently launched a new visual search tool that uses AI that allows creators to have a more expansive vocabulary when they're discovering their style. So essentially, Pinterest, as you start to search something in their platform, will provide you new words and language to help explore your discovery. And ultimately, this AI is helping to personalize the visual discovery and collapse the gap between inspiration and purchase. Remember that maximum relevant ad unit? This is how AI is facilitating that connection on Pinterest. On Meta, they are all in on AI as the foundation for the ultimate delivery and performance. They've outlined new generative tools that produce ad content and text with a simple text prompt. They're optimizing that delivery with Advantage Plus and ensuring that you have the perfect content for your perfect target audience. And they're also combining this with stronger AI-powered data aggregation to ultimately push them to own and master that entire marketing process from production all the way to measurement. YouTube, I mentioned this, they are doubling down on creator and becoming that ecosystem that helps propel creator dominance. They're doubling down as the home of authentic and quality content. From short form and long form offering, creators are able to discover new audiences and nurture dependable communities. They're relaunching their creator brand matchmaking tool, and they're even taking a stand against AI, recently announcing that they are rolling out new monetization guidelines that prevent mass-produced AI content and really pushing creators to focus on that authentic and original content. Ultimately, in this rapidly changing and highly saturated landscape, it's creators who have already built trust and a relationship with their audience who are winning. They're becoming the ultimate curator of content, of information, of community, and of authenticity. And as we talk about curation and community and authenticity, we can look to the transformation that's currently happening in the media landscape to understand the creator impact. Creators right now are rewriting the rules of media as they become those ultimate curators of quality content that resonates with their already deeply loyal audience. Take, for example, the Cutting Room Floor podcast. Recently, Steve Madden was on this podcast hosted by Rachel Amondi on her Patreon. This is a paid-only access podcast, but this conversation revealed that authentic and real conversation can drive business impact. In the days after the podcast, Steve Madden brand rallied to its highest point in months. TikTok users were commenting, noting that they wanted to buy these shoes. Google searches for Steve Madden were up over 60%, and organic search had increased by 10%. Madden, who's been a figure in fashion for a very long time, was able to go on this creator podcast, have a very authentic and candid conversation, and drive incredible discovery and loyalty with a new generation of shoppers. Following the interview, the host, Rachel, did an episode on her Patreon saying, "If you found me from the Steve Madden interview, welcome." And she shared with her patrons why her content specifically goes viral. And it's ultimately because audiences cannot get this type of content from legacy media publications. Let's take a listen.
If you want independent creation, if you want me to do a game where I'm like, Steve, you went to prison, Steve, you copy, these other designers, Steve, did you vote for Trump and talk about terror? You don't get this. There's a reason why these clips go viral. There's a reason why you guys like this content. Is because you're not going to get this from any other legacy media publication. You're not. You want to know how I know? Because I know the fashion journalist girls here in New York City, and I know that not only their personalities, but also who they work for. They don't get to do anything fun. And if you don't believe me, go take a chance. Go watch these other quote unquote fashion podcasts that have come and bubbled up ever since I started mine 5, almost 6 years ago. Go watch and see if you're entertained. See if you can get through the whole thing, because personally I can't, and that's no shade, but that's just my honest feeling. If you want independent creation, if you want me to.
Ultimately, what we're seeing in real time is that creator podcasts are rewriting these rules of media and PR. Podcasting is no longer just an audio play, but it's a creator-led multimedia opportunity. It's starting to replace typical press and media circuit as a primary channel for driving awareness amongst audiences. And as platforms are embracing these podcast video hybrids, it's these creators that have the dedicated community and the creation and the curated POV that can perform across formats with native content. That's what's winning attention. We now turn to a clip from Scott Galloway, who speaks briefly here about this very complex shift in a multimedia environment that podcasts are embodying and really pushing the media landscape forward.
Podcasts are moving towards video. Podcasts are essentially becoming TV shows with strong audio components where you can just listen to the audio. And if you look at the top 100 podcasts of the 1.6 million that are out there and the 600,000 that put out content every week, the top 100, there's been huge churn. 50 new entrants into the top 100, 50 have dropped out. And what is the arbiter of who has churned in and churned out? It's their video game. The new arbiter of who moves up in the world of podcasting and who moves out is going to be how strong your video game is. I believe that the new arbiter of success in podcasting is not going to be Spotify. It's not going to be Apple. It'll still be YouTube. But more than anything, or the new player, if you will, that creates the difference between being number 300 and number 30 is the following: Reddit. I think Reddit is literally out of central casting in terms of its niche domains, its the viscosity of commenting. I think it was tailor-made to figure out how they become a platform for taking pieces of podcasts and threading them into different comments on Reddit. I think Reddit's going to be the new platform that kind of picks winners and losers. A possible second to that in 26 is going to be Netflix, who's decided to get into the game. And Netflix just has custody of 350 million home screens. If they decide that they want to distribute Mel Robbins' podcast or Raging Moderates, that podcast will immediately shoot into the top 20 of podcasts globally. So they have so much custody of the consumer that they perhaps could be the new arbiter.
So what Scott Galloway is really speaking to here, and what this video podcast evolution reflects, is this new age of consumption complexity. Audiences are engaging with brands, creators, legacy media in this very intertwined and complex user journey. And ultimately, again, this just showcases why creators are those curators that help break through the noise and resonate with their audience. Even traditional verticals in media are trying to keep up because they know that creator IP is what's driving relevance. We can see a couple great examples here. Traditional publications like The Cut are now hiring creators like Hello Teffy to help strengthen and build out their podcast as a core pillar of their business growth. In the sports world, creators like Sidemen, after hosting a creator charity match selling out Wembley Stadium, are now seen in spots for Dick's Sporting Goods with traditional athletes like Kevin Durant. And there's even creators like Michelle Carr, Try Guys, and Epic Gardening that are locking in full TV channels on Samsung TV. But ultimately, creators are carving their own path and they're legitimizing their growth within the industry, recognizing and protecting their talent and influence. In Q2, it was very interesting to see that some of the traditional institutions of media like SAG-AFTRA or Emmys made progress in the creator category. So SAG-AFTRA and the Creator Guild of America were launched to help formalize creator protections from IP rights and fair pay, and bringing more of like a union style representation to creators. And creators like Michelle Carr here was the first creator for her show called Challenge Accepted on YouTube to break into the Primetime Emmy category, really showcasing the power of creator content in that mainstream environment. Now, we know that media, content, and consumption habits are all being redefined by creator influence. So when we consider that, then we also are being called to redefine and reimagine how we measure creator impact, attribution, and performance. Think of Michaela, who we spoke to at the top of this meeting. She sold $1 million worth of product in 8 minutes. How do we really begin to understand how she was able to accomplish this? Ultimately, a revolution in creator measurement is required. If we look at the current model of how creators are being measured, it's really focused on what happened. How many likes did it get? What was the performance? And not so much on why it worked. What we recommend and we want to evolve to is a deep, insights-driven focus on incremental impact of a creator partnership. So if we look at some of the metrics and elements of the current model a little bit deeper, we know that creator is often tracked and compared with social performance. We're analyzing traditional metrics like likes, clicks, impressions. There's little differentiation between the platforms, and there's often this over-reliance on vanity metrics that don't reflect true brand impact. And if we evolve that, what we want to look at is measuring the immeasurable. What do people like about the content? Why is it resonating? How can we use multidimensional studies to capture that full picture of performance? The current model is also very focused on last touch attribution. There's limited ability to isolate the creator's impact or the platform's spend outside of creator campaigns. As we evolve it, it's going to be essential to focus on this incremental impact. What is the creator's additive value? When we look at incremental impact, we're able to combine both the qualitative sentiment, but also the quantitative lift in brand metrics, and understand the role of the creator in trust, tone, and authenticity to influence both perception and action. And then finally, we know that the current measurement is really focused on ads. It's not really looking deep at storytelling or influence, which is the creator's true secret sauce. So when we look at an evolved model, we want that measurement to be built for storytelling, measuring connection, recall, and persuasion. This type of measurement is designed to inform future creative and content strategy, not just measure past performance. And it's building platform agnostic frameworks that adapt, where content lives and how it functions in this new complex consumption landscape. Ultimately, multi-dimensional measurement is needed to unpack the intangible insights that understand how creators are so effective in a campaign. Now, at Paid, our recommendation is to combine a number of different studies and multidimensional studies to bring this picture to life. We look at things like social listening. This is a surface level analysis of sentiment and share of voice that understands, what's being said about a creator or about a topic in market. Then we would want to layer in brandless study, which quantifies the impact of creator content on brand metrics like perception, consideration, and intent, and understand that ultimate question: did this campaign or partnership move the needle? From there, we look at things like MMM and multi-touch attribution that move beyond last touch attribution and properly evaluate creator contributions to business outcome within the full marketing mix, and really ultimately answer that question: how much credit should this content actually get? And then finally, a new emerging style of measurement is content and creator diagnosis that really leans into why this content is actually performing. We're looking at things like the tone, the look and feel, the storytelling style, the audience alignment, and the emotional resonance of content to answer that question: what makes this content work and for which audience? It's a much more integrated and multidimensional approach that, again, helps focus on understanding those intangible elements that sell $1 million in 8 minutes. So finally, with all that in mind, where do we see this landscape moving forward? I think we're going to see more change in the next 6 months than we have maybe in the last 5 years of creator, with this confluence of AI and changing measurement and changing media. But there's 2 key words I want you to remember as you look ahead. The creator economy continues to mature, and it's mobilizing. We've spoke about this many times today, but ultimately creators are entrepreneurs, and they're looking to build sustainable businesses that go so far beyond the feed. We have this example of Stephen Bartlett, who turned down a $100 million deal for his podcast because he felt he would be more profitable and have more control to continue functioning independently. Creator Amelia de Moldenberg is actually seeking to build a creative studio instead of the obvious thing of just slapping her name on some chicken nuggets, again, with this intent of building a long-term sustainable brand and business. We're seeing the next generation of creators showing up on screen. Just this week, Gap launched a campaign with kid creators. Miles Music on the top right-hand side there, he's only 9 years old. So as creators like Kai Cenat open their Streamer University and they're getting millions of applications, we can see this next generation is already starting to come up into the marketing conversation. And of course, they're creator and they're digital natives. When we look at mobilization, we can turn to the mayoral candidate campaign that recently happened in New York and see how candidate Zohan partnered with creators to build groundswell and beat out the incumbent candidate by showing up in creators' feed and UGC. Here he is talking on subway takes. And then finally, when we look at mobilization, platforms that go so far beyond social, such as Uber, for example, are also tapping into creators to take their influence so far beyond the feed. they're using things like a TikTok craving or a TikTok viral recipe, turning it into a local Uber Eats list that you can then order while you're in an Uber on the way. Consumption is live, it's local, it's now. Gen Uber is 65% more likely to use an on-demand service than any other generation. And we predict that creators are going to continue to use their influence and ability to curate to have impact so far beyond social and in that sort of real-time consumer decision-making. So that wraps us up. That was a really quick power 30-minute seminar on the creator economy. I hope you learned something new and really understand the impact of where this category is growing. If there's any questions, feel free to pop them in. Otherwise, you can always check out hashtagpaid.com to get more information and talk deeper about the creator economy. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And we're wrapping up right on time, so we can let you get back to your wonderful day. Thank you so much.